Good evening. I am Dr. Gregory Salters, and you're with us again as we're here dealing with the salt mine. And what we're dealing with this week is going to be something that we really need to deal with. Hopefully, everyone has been going out there and taking advantage of their time to vote. Make sure you have registered to vote. Make sure that you are voting. And some individuals say that voting doesn't matter. I disagree with that. We need to be voting like our lives depend on it, because our lives do. If you don't believe it, see what's happening in our communities that you don't agree with. And a lot of times that happened because of the way we voted or our lack of voting. I'm here representing myself. We're here with the Tom Raines Lodge number 484 out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We're talking about making sure Lauderhill is squared away. We have the pleasure of having some individuals that know a lot about things in Lauderhill. They've been working out there in Lauderhill in the community, and they are running for office in Lauderhill. And what we're doing tonight is giving them an opportunity to talk to us about what they're doing, what they want to do. And while Tom Raines is not endorsing any of the candidates, we are here to help Lauderhill and these individuals that wish to move the community forward. Without further ado, what I'd like to do is introduce the Worshipful Master of Tom Raines, number 484, past Worshipful Master Corey Wilson. Would you like to have an intro and just talk to us a little bit about you and talk to us a little bit about Tom Raines?
Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, wherever you're watching. Thank you all for coming. It's an honor for Tom Raines to host this candidate forum with the candidates we have here. And being in the 33311 zip code encompasses a great deal of Fort Lauderdale. And Tom Raines just wants to make sure that we have an opportunity for that are working for our community and our people. So, nonetheless, we wanted to make sure that everybody had a candidate and topic that we should know. We're not endorsing any candidates tonight, but we know some of these candidates side of what's going on in the curtain, and we would like them to share some of their expertise, if not their experience. November 3rd vote.
All right. Thank you very much, Worsh. One of the things I also want to talk about is, as we're doing this, we have Kendall Colvin, past master and current treasurer of the Tom Raines Lodge 484. Would you like to tell us a little bit about some of the things that Tom Raines has been doing in the community?
Good evening, Nadia Assad and Miss Dunn, worship master, and everybody that's listening. Tom Raines, in a part of our community, we've been volunteering various activities. We partnered with Parkway Middle School. We do Thanksgiving drive. We last year we did over 500 baskets and meals. Also, we do street cleanups. We have a scholarship program, and then we also have a mentoring program, which is called Arthur Tabb Brown Council 44. It's a mentoring youth program for boys from the age of.
I believe your microphone just went out on us.
Oh, okay.
There you are.
We have what did I miss off at?
You ended with the ages of the young men in your mentoring program.
They go from the ages of 6 to 18 that we mentor.
Okay. Outstanding. Thanks for shining a little bit more light on what Tom Raines is doing in the community. And when we're moving forward, you all notice that when we start, we'll be starting with alphabetical order by last name. What I would like for you all to do is tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you have been doing in the community. And if you have any special projects that really near and dear to your heart, tell us about that. So I'll start with Nadia Assad.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for having me. I would like to thank the brother of Tom Raines. We had done so many things in the community together. I am proud to be, I am considering myself like your sister. And thank you all for everything that you guys have been doing in the community, making sure that Lauderhill is squared away. My name is Nadia Assad, candidate for Lauderhill Commission Seat 3. Proud single mom of 4. I have been in the community to be more exact, in the U.S. since 1997. I was born and raised in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. I migrated here in 1997. I attended Miami-Dade Community College. I am My background is nursing, mostly mental health, which I am passionate about. I've been working in mental health for years, and I practice that as well in the community using my ability to paint, using that for art therapy. I use it as well when I'm mentoring in the school, having the kids using that to express themselves and use it for therapy, and it's very fun. And I'm hoping that me and Tom Wrench we're gonna have some of those things going on in the community, as well as Melissa Dunn's program that I am so looking forward to. And I have also certification in business management, cultural diversity, community relations and education, depression and anxiety treatment in youth, mental health ambassador, art therapy, and cognitive behavioral health, and beyond. My passion is to work in the community, making sure that I gather everybody together in one goal, making sure that we all get educated on things that are mattered to the community. I had done several workshops about the census, about voters education. I have done also workshop about youth empowerment and single family empowerment. I partner up with Lauderhill Police Department. I am one of their volunteer. I work with the COP. And as well as the Lauderhill Fire Rescue, I am one of their CERT member, which is a community emergency response team. So when there's disaster in the street, you will see me and the fire rescue and the brother of Tom Lunch, Melissa Dunn, everybody out there making sure that we help the community that are most in need. I also partner up with Commissioner Denise Grant with her feeding program. Every Saturday and Sunday, we make sure that we feed the people of Lauderhill that are in need, and so on. There's a whole list of things that we do in the community, and I cannot keep going on like that. But I am so pleased to be here, and hoping that we're gonna have more of those, because those conversations are very important about law enforcement and what we are doing in the community to help get people more engaged in what's going on in Lauderhill and in their city. Thank you so very much for this program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Dunn, I know you've done a lot in the community and a lot in the business world over there. I'd love to hear some of the things that you're doing and something that's passionate to you over in Lauderhill.
Okay, thank you. Again, my name is Melissa Dunn. I am running as a candidate for Lauderhill City Commission, seat number 2. And, I share Nadia's passion for service, particularly service to young people. I have worked a lot in the sphere of the business community. I used to be on the board of directors for Lauderhill Regional Chamber of Commerce. I actually was on the board. I was serving in Lauderhill while living in Sunrise and spending most of my time serving in the city. I used to be the marketing director for Florida Medical Center, and that's how I got involved with the Chamber of Commerce board, and eventually being the president of the Chamber of Commerce. And in that capacity, I really had the opportunity to get to know the people of Lauderhill. So much so that I decided to move here and do business here and serve here. So there are a couple of things that are important to me. First, I really believe that Lauderhill needs to be a community where prosperity is possible for all of us. Where everybody has a pipeline to prosperity. So I have been working very diligently to ensure that we support the small business in Lauderhill, providing a new business orientation program. At one point, I also had an entrepreneurial training institute through the chamber, mentoring young entrepreneurs, supporting them so that they can grow their business. I know that when small business win, the community wins, because they have the opportunity to hire more people and really put the money back in the economy. I also do for the last 6 years, I have been producing a program called the Women of Distinction Awards. And we have honored over 60 women in Broward County, some of whom are Lauderhill residents, for the contribution that they've made to the community. So again, supporting women. And now I have my own nonprofit. I actually just got my 501c3 on September 17th. But we have a program called the Hibiscus Girl Leadership Academy, where we mentor Lauderhill Hill girls. So I currently have 12 girls in the program. And it's so interesting. I hear you talk about mentoring boys. We're mentoring girls, and at some point, perhaps we can see where there's room for us to collaborate. And Nadia, I'd love to have you come in and perhaps do a painting exercise with the girls. One of my girls actually wants to be a physician, but she enjoys art. And I think that I think that there's room for us to support that. What I know for sure is that when we support small business, when we support young people, when we support women, and of course, when we give law enforcement the tools that they need in order for them to continue to serve the community, we all win. So as a commissioner for Lauderhill City Commission Suite 2, it is my intent to work with the community in order for us to create a prosperous Lauderhill for everyone.
Wow. Now, you two are some dynamic ladies, and the things that you all are doing, I think that Lauderhill is really in for a treat when you all win your elections. One of the things that we also talk about, and you talk about the things that you have been doing, what I want to find out is, what is your true passion? I mean, if everything else was out of the window, what is your true passion? And I'll reverse the order this time. Since Nadia went first last time, Melissa, you go for it with this one. What is your true passion, and what really drives you?
Okay, so my true passion is service. Here's what I know. In my business, I actually have an advertising agency. That's what I do. And I made a commitment when I started my business 7 years ago that we will only work on projects that are good for the community. So most of my projects professionally are either cause-driven or healthcare driven. And, I certainly could make more money if I were doing commercials for Pepsi, right?
Yeah.
But instead, I choose to do commercials on breast cancer prevention, or on access to healthcare, or on access to quality education. I made that decision when I started my business as a conscious capitalist, because I believe that it's possible to do good and make money. It's not an either or scenario for me. It's a both and. And so my passion is service, and service first to myself, right? Because I have to put on my own mask, and I have to fill my own cup so I can give from my overflow.
Right.
And then secondly, service to my family and my community.
Okay. A conscious capitalist. So I guess that's a hashtag we'll have to go with. So I enjoy that, because some capitalists do not appear to be as conscious as we may like them to be. Okay. So, Ms. Assad, can you tell me, what is your passion? What really drives you at the end of the day?
Oh my God, I share the same passion as Melissa, and we have almost the same goal, the same thing that we are doing in the community. My passion is community service, plain and simple. It started since I was in Haiti. I could remember when I used to be young, and it used to be
You're
funny.
still
We didn't
young,
have
girl.
that
You're
much.
still young.
I'll take that. We didn't have that much, but I remember that me and my mom, we always wanted to make sure that whoever it is that's surrounding us got something going on for that day, either food or things for them to do the laundry, anything like that. So community service stays with me, and I traveled here with it, and I use my my talent as an artist paint to help the community with that. That's my second passion. I love painting. So since I love painting, I use my artwork and my talent to art therapy, and as well to serve the community, because portions of my proceed when I sell my artwork, they goes to charity events that I do on a yearly basis, such as the backpack giveaway, school, drive, give some food away, or either toys drive, whatever it is that the community need. And one of the things that I love to do as well is to help the community, especially the single mom, because you know that sometimes, times are tough, and we have an organization called Pen to Impact that help them in any need that they can have, such as rental, such as fees for their son or their daughters to go to any program that they choose in the community, or pay for workshop for them to give them some kind of new skills so they can find work in the community. So my true passion is plain and simple community service. As some people usually call me, contrary to Melissa, they call me Mother Teresa, because I don't have that much. I'm not making that much, but I'm always giving something away, contrary to Melissa. But that's my
Mhm.
passion.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, another one I'd like to ask you all, when we were doing this forum and I was thinking about titles, and I said, making sure Lauderhill is squared away. And I'll start with you, Nadia. What does that statement mean to you when you first saw it, making sure Lauderhill is squared away? What does that mean to you?
Well, my God, it means a lot. It means that we as a community will be coming together to get everything that we need to do in order for us to survive, to grow as a community. Like, for example, when I see Squared Away, I see me and the community working together, educate them, and how we're gonna go ahead and tackle those high taxes that we have, on tackle the high crime rate that we have, on making sure that all kids, the schools are squared away, like you said, making sure that the buildings are in proper set for them to be receiving those kids so they can prosper, so they can learn properly, making sure that we as a community get together, mentor those children, mentor those youth so they can have higher grade, so we can have more people coming into Lauderhill, buy in the community, stay in the community, do business in the community, and like make it how Melissa said it again, get it done.
All right. All right. So now, Melissa, when you saw that title, making sure Lauderhill is squared away, what do you think? And Worsh, just to give you a heads up, I got to come to you to ask you what that meant to you, Worsh, when you say making sure Lauderhill is squared away. So just get prepared, Worsh.
Well, actually that term squared away is something that I grew up with. My stepfather is military. And so that's a phrase, that's a phrase that he always talked about. Let's get squared away. That means that everything has to be just so precise and good, right? So that was actually the first thing that came to mind. I thought about my stepdad and him using that term when I was growing up. So let me say this to you, Dr. Sanders. So here's what I know. True transformation in a community takes collaboration, right? So in my career, I've had the opportunity and the blessing to work in the corporate side as well as to work in the nonprofit community. And I know that true change, the best way to get that done is through collaborative impact. That means government and residents working together and business working together in order to square away the community. And so, the difference between what I'm looking to do now as a commissioner is that now I'll have the opportunity to create or to propose policies and legislation that will create a prosperous Lauderhill for all of us. So when you say square away the community, for me, that means all hands on deck. That means business, residents, and government working together to create a prosperous Lauderhill for all of us. And the only difference between what I would be doing, given the opportunity to be your commissioner in seat number 2, is that now I have a seat at the table. Now I can perhaps lead the conversation and invite other people to sit at the table with me so that we can A, identify the needs of our city, B, figure out which organizations are currently fulfilling that need, and C, identify the gaps in service. If you're at the table and you're a foundation and you are part of the strategic planning process or you are part of the needs assessment process, then now we can say, all right, how can you fund this nonprofit to do that service, right? So my role as a commissioner would be to get you to the table and for us to have policy decisions and bring policy and programs together with funders and business organizations. So if we can get that done, Lauderhill will be squared away.
Hashtag Together We Can.
Yes. And it's very interesting. I don't know whether you're reading my notes over here or something like that, because my next question, which you answered so succinctly, and I'll ask it to Nadia, is what is the difference between you just being Nadia and being out there in the community versus Commissioner Assad? What would be the difference? Why is it that you want a commission seat?
Well, Melissa just answered the question. It's just a greater opportunity for you to be able to, create ordinance, make new ordinance, so we can have everything squared away that we were saying. Because we have been doing this everything that a commissioner do in a community, basically. It's just a matter of putting them in place, putting them in law now to make things happen, to get things done. So that's basically it. Because we have been doing basically everything. Everything has been the same, except that we are not sitting at the table yet to have that greater opportunity to serve as many people as we need. But it's basically the same, because we have been out in the community, basically doing what we do best, serving. And so I'm looking forward for it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, and I just saw it. Cedric LaFleur is joining us tonight. He's a good friend of mine. He's also John C. Maxwell. There's a whole bunch of leadership training and Black Entrepreneur Institute that they have. He says he loves the title. Squared Away to him means everyone of different races, socioeconomic cultures are in the room, at the table, and involved. It's amazing that he said that when he talks about Lauderhill, when he lives in Houston, Texas. So when you talk about the diversity that I see in Lauderhill, I think that what Cedric says here really encompasses the diversity of Lauderhill, with it being a minority majority city, where the minorities are the majority. So I think that there's a lot of room for growth and a lot of pearls over in Lauderhill that we're going to be dealing with. Okay, Worship Master, Ms. Wilson, what does the title mean to you, sir? Making sure Lauderhill is squared away. Are you there?
I don't see him on the screen anymore.
Okay. All right. Kendall, what does that title mean to you, making sure Lauderhill is squared away?
But just like Ms. Dunn said, I'm a retired military. I just want all hands on deck. Like, we got different races, and I want to get back to like it used to be, squaring away the community, the kids, so everybody be on one page, one sound. And that's what I look at when I see making sure Lauderhill is squared away and holding people accountable.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, yes, that right there. Yes.
Wait.
Drop the mic. Hold people accountable.
Wait, now this is one thing I just saw on Facebook the other day. They said accountability feels tremendously uncomfortable to those who don't want to be held accountable. And then when you start looking at accountability, and this is where I'll go to how we kind of put these things together, because accountability is great, but Melissa, as you stated, we must have policy in place that will be there for people to be held accountable to. Because sometimes if there is no policy, there's nothing to hold people accountable to. So that's why I think when we're looking at it, and you talk about these communities, and I think sometimes individuals forget that we're all in this community together. And I saw another post on Facebook earlier today. It was an Native American figure. And he said, do you think that people are forgetting that the left wing and the right wing belong to the same bird?
Ooh. Wow, that's a powerful question,
and the right wing belong to the same bird. So now when you look at that, we can talk about far left, far right, same bird. when we're in Lauderhill and we're talking about the various different parts of the community, regardless of the parts of the community, it's still that same bird. So what I want to find out now, and I'll start with Nadia, I want to know, what are we going to do to let the proverbial left wing and right wing know that we all part of this same bird and bringing us together to accomplish these things that both you and Melissa have acknowledged that we got to come together to do. How do we do that? Start with you, Nadia.
We need to start by educating our community. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of branches into that. First of all, you have a community that needs guidance. They need to have that leadership. They need to see us out there in the community. They have to have that sense of partnership, that sense of, yes, I belong. This is my city as well. This is where I live. This is where I need to be. So once you start giving them that sense of partnership, you start giving them responsibilities as well, right? And educate them as far as, okay, what are those responsibilities are? What are what the impacts are? They will get to learn what is it that we need to do to bring the community up. I'm gonna give you a simple example. Last 10 years ago, on the census, Lauderhill had about 40 to 50% of the population that filled out the census. And you guys all know how much we lose when one person doesn't fill out that census, and how much
do we lose? How much do we lose per person? How much do we lose per person?
We're looking at 16,000 per person per year for 10 years.
16,000
and you have a community that's growing.
Is that 1,600 or 16,000 per person per year?
1,600 per person per year for 10 years. Thank you for the correction. So you can multiply that. Imagine a family of 6, of 7, 4 that doesn't fill out that census, how much we lose every year for 10 years. And your population is growing. So now you have a side of the population. For example, let's take the Haitian community. Most of them, or the Latino, most of them, they have that bias of the census being there to just, take them back to where they come from, because of immigration status and everything else. So therefore, they are scared of filling that out. But who is out there to educate them about what's really in there? That it is not a fact that we're gonna get deported if we fill out the census. That the census doesn't care if you're a citizen or not. It's just here to count you. It's just here to get the statistics, to give the community more money, to bring more resources, or to add to the resources that you have. So now imagine not everybody know that. So once you get the community together, you educate them about all those important little factors that are very important for community growth, you will see that you will start to have changes.
Okay.
So having that said, this is one of the ways that you're gonna come and bring the community together, by getting them involved and talking about accountability, right? Some of them, they are in the city. They don't know that they are the one paying us, me and Miss Dawn, to be a commissioner. Your tax money is paying Melissa and I, gonna be paying us, right? So therefore, it is like a job. That is a job that we're gonna be having. Okay, taking the responsibility to look after the city. It is gonna be our job. And in that same sentence, they are paying us. So meaning that if we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing, policy is supposed to be in place for them to say, listen, you are not doing what you were put there to be, to do. So therefore, we demand that either you do it or something else happens. Either they replace you or something else. The community doesn't know that. So what they do now, right? They choose not to vote, or not to partake, or not to be engaged at all in what's going on in the city. Okay. So those things, they need to know about them, so they become involved and more comfortable about knowing the fact that, yes, they can hold me and you accountable for things that are not being done in the community. So this is the thing that I think that we need to sit down and educate the community about some of the things, educate the community about, so they can be aware of that and be more engaged, be more receptive about what's going on into your community.
Okay, great. Thank you. Melissa, talk to us, and then we'll get over and discuss some law enforcement issues.
Well, I actually, if you wouldn't mind, I need to plug in my phone. I just realized I'm on 3%.
Okay, not a problem.
If you could take me out of the frame for a minute while I move and replug.
Okay, all righty. Let me do this. Okay, all righty. So now when we're doing this and we're talking, as we're talking about these things, I like what you're talking about there, Nadia, and Colvin, Kendall, talk to me. What is it that Tom Raines would like to do, or how do you think Tom Raines could help bring the community together?
Tom Raines, we're looking at working with other organizations, making ourselves more visible. Pretty much that's what we're looking at. And right now the worship, he's out, but that's what the men of Tom Raines we're looking for. We're looking at doing more volunteer activities with the community. We're looking for just about everything, and we're trying to get out. We're looking for more activities to have people join with our youth program that we have. We want to make that go as far as it can. It's a statewide program that we have. It's like been on Tom Raines Lodge, Tom Raines that we started. So it's a statewide program. They meet other boys throughout the state of Florida, and then also it goes nationally. So we just looking to do a lot of more activities with governmentals, police agencies, any nonprofit organization.
Okay, great. Thank you. And now I'd like to kind of switch. You had something else, Nadia?
Yes, I was about to add, while you're out there in the community, that would be a great thing to get those youngsters involved as far as educating one another. You can even, like I was telling to Melissa yesterday, I think, we can have a competition between them, because I found out when there's competition in any kind of activities, it incites people to do more and then to be more, how you say that, involved in whatever it is that you're doing. So that would be a great thing to do, to have a competition in between them as far as any subject. It can be about painting, it can be about soccer, about who had the most influence as teaching somebody something, anything like that, to get them more engaged. And you've been in the community, because I've seen you out there. Remember, we participated in that Parkway food giveaway together. I was there as well. So you've been out there. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay. And now what I like to do is I'd like to talk about a subject matter that's very near and dear to my heart, talking about law enforcement, what we're doing with our community, because as you see in society now, there seems to be a lot of stress, a lot of tension between law enforcement and the communities. But that's kind of an interesting thing, because when you look at it on a national news, I've noticed that they look at it and they show a lot of stress. But I can tell you on a local level, it seems that I've had more individuals offering to buy my coffee, offering to buy my meals and this type thing. So I don't know whether that is really true or not. So I'd like to find out from each of you all, since Nadia, you spoke last, I'll start with Kendall. If you can tell us, what do you think it is like out there in the community? You think the community is really supporting law enforcement or not?
Well, it's a double-edged sword. I think a lot of the people are following the police brutality, but I personally, I support law enforcement, but I would like to see a little bit more community involvement with the police and the community.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Nadia, what do you see out there in the community?
Well, like Kevin said, it's kind of a double edge. Most likely people usually like the negative part first. They don't really say good things about the good stuff that are going on. They'll tend to, dwell on the negative part, the bad part that's going on versus the good things. I have seen a lot of support towards the law enforcement, and a lot of people have expressed themselves about getting involved into what's going on in the community. I myself, I am one of the volunteers with the Lauderdale Police Department. I am one of their COP members, and I also participate with them in their youth program that they have, mentoring the kids and talking with to the kids throughout of the community. So we definitely need to see more policing out there. Especially, I'm talking about Lauderdale, especially. But that is something that is coming. As far as I understand, we in the process of hiring more police officers. But definitely comments are very positive as far as that is concerned. You'll find one or two tweets that was wish that we have faster response time, response time or more involvement. But as far as I can see, that there's a lot of people that wish to really support you guys and work together with you as far as see something, say something, or be engaged as far as trying to see which way am I getting, can I get into law enforcement. I had given several people the phone number to go ahead and call and see what they need to do and what are the process for that. So definitely we need to work together with the policing industry. It's very important. The police departments, they need help. And if anybody's looking right now, I would suggest, I would encourage them to be a part of their police, their law enforcement in their community, because we all need to work together to get the crime rate at a lower level. Otherwise, they cannot do it on their own. We have to work together.
And you bring up an important part, and I think a lot of people do not really realize this in the community. Law enforcement, we cannot solve crime and improve the quality of life in the city by ourselves. We definitely need the public to work with us. We need them to partner with us. This is a two-sided thing, and it's kind of like that left and the right wing. We part of the same bird. So you got law enforcement and community. We're part of the same bird. We're all here working together. And some of the things that I found out is that a lot of times people are unaware of the employment opportunities within law enforcement. It's not just law enforcement officers that we have. We have civilian jobs. We have accountants. We have secretaries. We got dispatch. We got crime scene. We have all of those kind of things that are there. So we need outstanding individuals from the community working in our organization. So now when we start doing that and we start building those bonds, we can get down the crime rate. And I know I've heard everyone over there in Lauderhill talking a lot of times about the high millage rate. If we can get down the crime rate, and that could help possibly increase our property values and can then also help us decrease the millage rate, because the rate is high because we need money to run the government. So
Yes.
How do you get money to run your government? You have to look at all types of sources. So we're looking at things, trying to see how do we do it. And that's one thing I've often asked people, and we look at from the community side. How many times have we had individuals from the community that are actually out there recruiting people for their police department?
Yes.
Can you imagine if everybody in Lauderhill went out and made a concerted effort to recruit people to work within the city? Think about it. Every position in the city needs somebody. So that was it. So I haven't really seen that happen in a lot of cities where they've really done that. And you talk about community involvement in the police department, that can really help. And I know that now that you're in the COP and the CERT over there, are they still looking for volunteers to help them?
Yes, definitely. And the last time, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, we received a note from that particular side of the police department. They are still looking for people to volunteer, and we are about to open slowly but surely, still following the COVID guideline. So we're gonna go stepping out little by little, doing what we do best in the community, making sure that everybody knows that the law enforcement are still there doing what they're doing and help as much as possible. Because we partake in every kind of activity that you can possibly imagine. The police department will be out there mentoring the youth, like I said before. We have different programs for that, and we also feed the community. They also have tremendous programs that we have out there helping the community, and they're hoping that you guys can definitely join them into these ventures, because it's very important. Like you were saying earlier about the community hiring, being a part of the recruitment law enforcement. That's a good idea, and we were talking about that yesterday in one of those Zoom meetings that I have with the HOA, where everybody will be participating in the recruitment, because it means a lot. Like that, they get to know each other. We know what we're looking for, and they will know who we are as well, what we're looking for in the community. That will make a great impact. So I think it said FUBU, FUBU, for us, by us.
Okay, and Melissa, I'm glad you're able to join us. We're just talking about law enforcement, talking about partnering with law enforcement, and we're talking about, can you imagine if everybody in the community took an active role in recruiting your law enforcement officers and talking about the various jobs within the law enforcement agency? And you also have a lot of jobs within City Hall that I don't think many of our citizens are aware of the opportunities right there. And can you imagine the impact that will have if your whole police department, your city hall is staffed by individuals that work within the city? So just speaking from a law enforcement standpoint, what other things do you think we can do, or programs or things you may have heard of that we can do to help out the police department, which will ultimately help us reduce crime and improve our community?
Well, I think the first thing is for us to kind of agree on our vision for our community.
Okay.
And have a collective, like there has to be that one thing that we can all agree on, no matter what your socioeconomic status is, no matter what job you have or what culture you come from. There has to be that one thing, for that one vision for Lauderhill that we can all agree on. I believe that when everybody is committed to a cause, to a movement, to an idea, and they become vested in that cause, movement, or idea, that amazing things can happen, right? The power of one, I think, can move mountains. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I think it's important for people to all understand what their role is in law enforcement in keeping our community safe. I love the Citizen Police Academy that the chief has. And I think that that's something that we should encourage more Lauderhill residents to, to get involved with, so that they understand really what happens in a law enforcement agency, right?
Okay.
And thirdly, I think it's important for us to see, not only support the police department in filling those positions, as well as volunteering to being the police in the Citizens Police Academy. But in addition to that, we need to create opportunities for our law enforcement to interact more meaningfully with the community. I love Coffee with the Cops. I go to it all the time. I love Slow Roll. I go to it all the time. But I wonder what other community policing strategies the chief and her team might want to take on. And how can we as a community actually openly engage and participate in those strategies?
Okay, great. Now I happen to be in charge of our community engagement team. And some of the things you may even wish to do is to invite them out for your homeowner meetings, invite them out to those kind of things, because both sides have to be invited to each other's table.
Yeah, and they do actually. The police does go to the homeowners association meetings. They do go to the neighborhood watch meetings, and I have to give the chief and her team kudos. I know community policing is one of the things that's very important to her.
Okay.
I think my role as a commissioner would be to ask a couple of really important questions. One question that I learned from the show that I did with you and other law enforcement and other chiefs from around the country. If you remember, we had that conversation.
Right.
One of the tips that I heard from that meeting that I thought was really powerful is to kind of see where the money is being spent, right? Because then it kind of tells you what the real truth is behind the culture and the priorities.
Okay, great.
And then kind of seeing how, well, as a legislator, how can I support the mission, support the work, make sure that the officers have all of the training and the tools they need in order to serve the community, but at the same time, hold them accountable.
Correct.
And secondly, as a resident, we need to hold each other accountable, right? Because when you leave your car unlocked and you see something and you don't say anything, that's part of the problem too.
Okay. And now I'm going to go to the other side of our public service. We talk about law enforcement. We see how that really impacts us, but we also have our brothers in red, the fire department and paramedics that are out there that are really contributing to us. And when you look at the service that they provide and you think about it, when you have citizens that are in your community, and we need to have those services when people are coming there, and the fire service and the services they provide, we definitely can't leave them out of this conversation. So I'd like to, since I started the last one off with Nadia, what I'd like to do is, Melissa, if you could talk a little bit about the fire department, what we could do with them, Nadia, and then what we'll do is we'll begin to wrap up because I'm looking at it. We're about at 8:21 now, and I'd like to value everybody's time.
Sure. Well, I have to say that being a firefighter paramedic is even more important in this pandemic timeframe than ever before. And so I want to acknowledge and give kudos to not only our police department, but also our fire department for their commitment to serving the community. Now, I can say for sure, one of the things that I would love to see in the fire department is I'd like to see more diversity.
Okay.
I know that that is something, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I actually planned and hosted a meeting with fire chiefs from around Broward County to talk about how can we ensure that there is a pipeline of people of color that can step into those fire service jobs. It's a conversation that I had with chiefs, and again, as a volunteer, right? It's a conversations that I had with chiefs around Broward County, and I think it's a conversation we need to continue to have. I know that that Keith and his team, in terms of the fire department, they have actually improved the percentage of minority hires in Broward County Fire Services. I don't know what those numbers look like for the city of Lauderhill, but that's certainly something that I would like to, that's a question that I like to ask. I don't know what they're doing around diversity now. I don't know what they're doing to attract and retain diverse hires in the city of Lauderhill, but it's certainly a question that I'd like to ask.
Great. And that's one of the things
it's a conversation that I want to have, I guess is my point.
That's good. And that's like I often tell people, a lot of times we have to ask the question because sometimes the answers aren't provided because you haven't asked. And sometimes when you ask, the answer is suitable. And this again goes back to if I have the whole community working to recruit people, because how many times have you heard individuals say we can't find certain individuals? Well, where are you looking? But if we work as a community and work together, then we can begin to say, okay, what do you need to be in the fire service? Okay, let me start preparing people in middle school to be in fire service. Do we need to have high school fire service academies or police academies to prepare people when they graduate? So outstanding. So Nadia, talk to us about the fire service.
No, but definitely, I think what you just said about the program, as far as the high school student that they're preparing to become, fire rescues, that's one of the things that I know that they were working on if they didn't have it already in place. And to ensure, Melissa, from the time that I have been working with firefighters since they endorsed my campaign, I have been seeing a lot of diversity so far.
Good.
I don't know if you remember the last time we took the picture, there were probably, a couple of them, you can see a little diversity into Lauderhill, most definitely. And like you said, I commend them for all of their hard work in the community, especially with COVID. I know they have been swamped, especially with the home nursing program that have been there. They have a lot of calls going on, but they are there working for us and making sure that we are okay despite everything else. And one of the things that I know that they have in the CERT program, they make sure that they train the community. They have a lot of volunteer coming in and get trained on the CERT program, which is community emergency response team, for when we have disasters, so the community can help them and we can help ourselves. So I definitely give them a big hat for that. They are doing an outstanding job out there and we commend them. It's the same thing as the police department. We can definitely have more volunteering to these programs where they go out there in the schools and read to the kids as well. I think they have a program called Kapow as well, where they mentor the young kids. So they've been doing great. I'm not sure if I said it right. Have you heard of it, Melissa, the program?
I used to be a mentor through Kapow.
There we go.
Yeah,
Then they're still going out there and doing the same thing. And even with COVID, I know that from time to time they're doing it virtually. They did have one of those reception the other day at the city hall, rewarding, the mayor for being there for the longest and some of them. But kudos to them, and let's keep on helping our law enforcement or firefighters. Like we always said, we need to get things done, and together we can.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
If I could have a follow-up, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
Dr. Saunders. So here is the truth, right? The truth is I only know what I know as a resident on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
As a commissioner, part of my responsibility in the first 90 days that I'm in office is to have conversations.
Yes.
Is to meet with department heads, is to meet with the chiefs and the deputy chiefs and find out what, where we are and what it is that they need in order for them to help us all collectively create a Lauderhill that is prosperous and healthy for everybody. Right? So my first job is to have a conversation. And my second job, while I'm having that conversation, is to listen.
And listen to understand, not listening to respond.
Correct. Correct.
And we see here we have Dwayne Linder. I think he's a member of Tom Range Lodge. He says and he's also a firefighter. So he states there are such programs in the city of Miami that give young people the chance to start in the fire service. And Miami Edison Senior High is one such school. So we have people tuning in with that. And then I had another one. This is one of my, I call him mentee protege. I've known him since he's a sophomore in high school. Now he's married, living up in Atlanta, working security up there, has been in law enforcement. So he's speaking from a law enforcement background, says on the topic of police interacting with the people in these neighborhoods, I've always been pro foot patrol and police actually living in these neighborhoods they serve. If the only time an officer gets out of his or her patrol vehicle is when responding to a call, that's a problem. So do you all see how when we're working together and looking at ways to do this, we might just need to be saying, okay, can we have a different type of patrol in the area that allows you to spend more time and to connect? And it's kind of like one of the classes that I teach is everybody communicates, but few connect. And so many times you'll have the police communicating with us, but not really connecting with us. It's just like if you look back at every time we've been in school, in high school, if you look at it, even in elementary school, the class that you did the best in was the class that the teacher connected with you the most in. So imagine if we make it our goal to connect with each other more, then we'll be more effective in what we do. And as we begin to close out, as I value everyone's time, the time now is 8:29. What I'd like to do is give each of you all, as well as a member of Tom Range Lodge, about 3 minutes to do a closeout on what we've talked about tonight. The community, talk about law enforcement, talk about fire department, what it is that we need to do to let everybody know the left wing and the right wing of the same bird. So since I began with Nadia, I will end beginning with Melissa.
The city of Lauderhill has a lot of possibilities. There are a lot of amazing things happening in our city. There are a lot of things for us to be proud of. The Performing Arts Center, the sports park, the beautiful building that we have at City Hall. We have some of the most hardworking, diverse people here. And I think that's something for us to be proud of. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see us tell more of our own story. I'd like to see us speak so highly of our community that when you Google us, you only see good things about the city of Lauderhill. And I believe that's possible. I was there in the city of Miami Gardens as they were my clients, as they were having the same conversations about their city in the early 2000s that we're having now about our city, right? And look, Jazz in the Gardens is a multi-million-dollar moneymaker for the city. They've attracted Topgolf. They've attracted a lot of big businesses. We are not the first minority community in the United States that's faced challenges. Look at this. Look at Harlem and the renaissance that that community went through. I believe that other communities have transformed, and I believe that we can transform as well. I would like to be a part of that transformation. Better yet, I would like to lead that transformation in collaboration with my colleagues on the commission, collaboration with the city manager, and collaboration with her team, and collaboration with the mayor. I believe in collaborative impact. But real collaborative impact only works when there's true vision that everybody buys into, that everybody is committed to making a reality. And I'd like to be a part of that process. Melissa Dunn, Lauderhill City Commission, seat 2, and I respectfully ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Nadia.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for putting this conversation, not a forum, together. And we definitely appreciate that, giving the audience the opportunity to know and to chat with us and to see where we are. And those kind of conversation really means a lot because we are here sitting down, relaxing and talking without the pressure of time coming up. But most definitely appreciate it. Lauderhill, like Melissa was saying, is a vibrant community with such a diversity, dynamic people that are here. They are thirsty for change. They are thirsty to see better things for themselves and their family. So what I would like to see is for us to work together a little bit closer as we go through those changes, especially in the COVID-19 era that's going on. I would love to see more of us out there getting engaged in our schools system, getting engaged is what's going on in our city. Like I always say to the community, I know that sometimes we do not have that much time, and some of us we work 3 jobs, some of us we work 2. We're tired. We cannot participate in those, city hall meetings or workshop. But what I would like for you guys to do, partner up with some of the people in your community. Put a group of 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is, and assign somebody to go to those meetings when they are happening. Even if I cannot go that time, somebody else go, and then come back and make a decision between yourself to go back to the city. Because when those decisions are being made and you are not here, they be take for you and your community. You want to participate in those decisions because you are living in that community. You are a part of it, and we should be able to progress together. So we are looking forward to working with everybody. I myself, as a city commissioner for Lauderhill C3, I am looking forward to partner up with you guys, working with you for the environment of our community. And I thank everyone that are there making sure that we are rolling with the COVID-19. It's not easy, but hold on to it, and together we definitely will be able to get through this. Thank you so much, you guys.
Okay, and Corey Wilson, are you on with us still?
Together.
Yes, I'm still on with you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. If we could have you do a closeout for us, summing it up as the worshipful master for Tom Raines Lodge number 484, if you could close us out.
All right. One of the things I'm most proud of is our community. Being a member of Tom Raines, our community is a good community. In order for us to move it forward, we need to develop our resources. Sometimes it calls for us to retract and realign our resources, fiscally, intellectually, and our physical resources. Mr. Saab was right. Engagement is key. Communication is key, just the way we're communicating tonight. If everyone in our community finds something or someone to support for just 1 hour a month, 12 hours a year, their human capital and sweat equity pays dividends in our community. It is so important that we start with the foundational parts of community, which is getting out and helping those who need the help most. Getting out and communicating to people, getting out and sharing what we know. This forum was designed for that. We put out flyers, we put out events, we raise funds to give back to the charity because we love our community. So it's important for us to remember, the ladies and gentlemen are here tonight because we love our community. We have degrees, we have high school diplomas. Some of us are from foreign countries, some of us are natives. Some of us on this forum tonight moved from other areas, but we call this community home. So once again, our foundation is with one another. That's what Tom Raines is about. That's why we want to make sure Lauderhill is squared away. We want to make sure that every corner is perfect the best way we can, with our last breath and our last effort. Thank you for allowing us to have this forum tonight. Thank you for joining us.
And with that being said, I am Dr. Gregory Salters, and you all have been seasoned for success. You all have a good evening, and thank you all for joining us.
Good evening. Have a good night.
Good night.